Welcome back to Cure Depression with Ray, where I teach you how to permanently cure your depression without medication. If you're new to this channel and haven't seen this method before, then please check out the other videos in this series, link in the description. To recap the overview of this method, first we have to adopt some guiding principles. Second, we need to sharpen our minds, which will be the main tool for this method. And third, we need to investigate who you really are at an existential level. You have to find out who you really are to the level of you know that you know that you know, 100% know. Once you know who you really are, your whole perspective on life will change. Whatever happens or doesn't happen on the outside, you will always be good on the inside. And your depression will just disappear immediately. In this video, we will be covering the third step in this method, which is the direct method to find out who you really are at an existential level. To start off, we need to frame the question properly. Do you exist? Think about it carefully. Are you sure? 100%? This you that exists, what is it? What is its true nature? What is its essence? You might have a lot of ideas or speculations, but do you truly know 100%? This is what we will focus on exploring. Remember, you have to know 100% to the level of you know that you know that you know. Therefore, me telling you the answer doesn't do you any good, because as far as you're concerned, it's just a story. You don't really know whether it's the truth. That's why I have to go through all this effort teaching you how to find out. Next, I'd like to say a few words about self-help versus one-on-one consultations, which are guided investigations. I just want to set your expectations, because what you're doing right now, learning from me like this, is self-help, and it is difficult. It's like climbing an unfamiliar mountain all by yourself versus climbing the same mountain with an experienced guide. Can you do it all by yourself? For sure, I did it by myself, but it's much more difficult. So with self-help, I communicate the method to you one way, like in this video, and then you attempt to do it yourself. You won't know whether you're going down the wrong path until much later on. If you make a mistake, you have to figure out the solution by yourself. And doing it as self-help will probably require multiple attempts, with many failures along the way. So don't get discouraged. In contrast, if it was a one-on-one consultation, like a guided investigation, then it will be two-way communication. I hold your hand and we attempt it together step by step. If you start going down a path that I recognize as a dead-end path, then we can immediately reverse course so that you don't waste time. And in the event of a failed attempt, I can analyze the situation, give you feedback on the next steps and what you need to improve on, so that the next attempt will be more successful. Also, in a guided investigation, it is very much possible to reach the final answer in a single session. I've done this before with someone. So since you're doing this as self-help, set your expectations right so that you don't give up in the event of failed attempts. And remember, the most likely causes of a failed attempt are 1. You didn't adopt the guiding principles properly. 2. You didn't sharpen your mind sufficiently. I'm sure some of you were impatient and skipped the second and third video covering the guiding principles and sharpening your mind and came straight here. Make sure to review those two videos properly. Links in the description. Before we dive into the direct method, there's another topic that I like to cover, which is your conscious mind versus your subconscious mind. Remember, your mind will be the main tool that we'll be using for my method. Therefore, when searching for the answers, there is a difference in style depending on the relative strength of your conscious mind versus your subconscious mind. If your conscious mind is stronger, then use pure logical reasoning to arrive at the answer. If your subconscious mind is stronger, then listen to your intuition when it gives you the answer. If your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are equally strong, use a combined style. So if your intuition doesn't give you an immediate answer, start off with analyzing it logically. Use logical reasoning. Whenever you encounter any gaps in the logic chain caused by missing information, then use your intuition to skip that step and move on to the next step. Also, if you're equally strong with your conscious mind and subconscious mind, then when your intuition gives you an answer, use your logical reasoning to reverse engineer that intuitive answer and work out a logical reasoning behind it. Okay, let's dive into the direct method versus the indirect method. With the direct method, I give you 5 clues and you try to figure out the answer to what is this you that exists. I call it the direct method because you have to directly figure out the answer using those 5 clues. The purpose of the 5 clues is to shift your perspective to a point of view that most people don't take in their daily life. In comparison, with the indirect method, what we do is that we list out all the possible layers of a human being. These are potential candidates of who the you that exists could be. And then we investigate each layer individually. I call this the indirect method because it is a process of elimination. The direct method and the indirect method are both complementary. Most people will need to use both methods. The people who can succeed purely with the direct method are people who have done a lot of thinking by themselves regarding the nature of who they really are. Also, people whose subconscious mind are especially strong have a higher chance of succeeding with the direct method. If you don't succeed with the direct method, don't worry, move on immediately to the indirect method. This video will focus on the direct method. The next video will focus on the indirect method. With the direct method, remember, the purpose of the 5 clues is to shift your perspective, shift your point of view. Just treat these 5 clues as stories. There is no need to investigate whether these stories are true or untrue. Here are the 5 clues to directly know yourself. Number 1. From the time that you were a child until now, what has been the one single constant as you go through experiences of life? Number 2. If you switch to experience the life of someone who is completely different from you in every single aspect, what would be the one part of that experience that will be exactly identical as the current you? Number 3. While you are dreaming, what is the one part of you that is exactly the same as the current you in your waking moments? Number 4. When playing a computer game, you have an in-game character with a background story, an in-game body. Sometimes you have an invisible in-game advisor and different stats like strength, intelligence, energy, or stamina. So is the real you the character or the gamer? Number 5. Here's a story. I have a friend who meditates a lot. He shared one experience with me. During one meditation session, he experienced floating out of his body into the room, then out into outer space. And as he was moving through outer space, he saw stars, planets, but he felt that outer space wasn't empty. There was some kind of underlying material. Eventually, he entered into a void, which was absolutely nothing, not even the underlying material that he felt in outer space. So I asked him if he was scared being in the void, and he said no, because the void is me. So these are the 5 clues with the direct method. If you succeeded, congratulations, you are a very small minority. But most likely, your first attempt at the direct method failed. It's okay, don't worry, immediately move on to the indirect method. If you succeeded and you got an answer, you might doubt yourself. You might ask yourself, how do I know that this is the right answer? So, what does success look like? I'll share my personal experience of the moment that I found the answer. I just burst out in laughter. I couldn't help myself. It's because the answer was so ridiculous, and yet I knew beyond any doubt that it was 100% true. Also, if you really get the answer, then your depression will just immediately vanish. Poof! Just like that. And you will enter a state where whatever happens or doesn't happen externally, you will always be good inside, internally. And here's a little bonus riddle. Once you truly know who you are, try thinking about, who am I? So, to summarize this video, first, we frame the question properly, which is, do you exist? What is this you that exists? Second, we discuss doing this as self-help versus a guided investigation. And this discussion was important to set your expectations. Don't worry about failed attempts. Keep going through this method, improving yourself, and keep trying. Third, we discuss the style that you have to take to arrive at the answer, depending on the relative strength of your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Fourth, we did a comparison of the direct method versus the indirect method. Fifth, we covered the 5 clues to directly know yourself. And sixth, we covered the next steps, whether you failed or succeeded with the direct method. In the next video, we will cover the details of how to use the indirect method. So please like, share, and subscribe to this channel.